Hello there, my name is Jason Wynn, and today I would be happy to show you how to clear symptoms of bronchitis. Now, first thing that's very important to know is that bronchitis happens to feed off of your body's mucus. Really gross, but your body happens to use the mucus to push out the bronchitis. Don't ask me why. It seems like you're trying to flood mosquitoes out with blood. Interesting concept. Anyway, my reason for saying this is that the easiest way to cut your body's reaction off, by the way, it's worth mentioning that your body's reaction to bronchitis is the majority of the problem. You can't really feel any of the effects of the bacteria except for maybe feeling a little bit more sluggish. Everything else is just mucus and all the shit that your body does to react to it. So, the easiest way to shut off this faucet is simply switch to a slightly lower carb diet. I recommend something probably under 50 carbs a day. It'll cut down a lot of the shit that you're using to feed the bacteria. Your body's immune system should take care of the rest. It doesn't really need to flood the bacteria out. I don't know why it does that. But I guess it's just because of irritants and other things like this. Anyway, I regress. So, an easy way to clear the mucus out of your throat is to gargle. Now, when you're gargling, people are used to it only hitting certain portions of their throat, and so I typically recommend that you take a little glass of water, add a little bit of salt to it. It should be very strong to the taste. You wouldn't want to drink this usually. And when you're gargling, you only want to have enough in your mouth that you can feel it on the bottom. You'll know after a few seconds whether it feels comfortable or not. The next part is to align the salt water in your throat. By the way, the salt water is really great for removing the mucus in your throat, which gets kind of gunked up, and it also kind of prevents more mucus from actually clinging to the walls of your throat on the way down. And so, gargling. Alright, so I'm going to do a trick that I learned a while back that actually allows you to move the mucus up and down your throat. Observe. When I hit different pitches, it actually climbs up and down my throat. It gives you a little bit of control over it, and allows you to clear portions of your throat you're not used to. I recommend using a very small amount the first time. A second trick adds a little bit of moisture to your throat. By the way, after doing the gurgling with the salt water, I don't recommend drinking anything or eating anything afterwards for about 30 minutes. If you need to rinse your mouth out with something else, just don't swallow it. Also, this is really great for opera singers. You're adding a little bit of moisture to your throat. Observe. What I'm doing, this isn't salt water by the way, is adding just a little bit of water to the front of my mouth, tilting my head forward, and then pulling air through it in little wisps, and it makes little bubbles. And it catches little bits of moisture on the way out of that little filter of water that's in the front of my mouth. So it adds little bits of moisture to my throat. It's really good if you're having a dry throat, which you're probably not having with bronchitis. Another thing, a lot of people with bronchitis typically experience the most mucus in here. So the easiest way to get rid of this that I know of is quite mechanical, because I can't really tighten a muscle that pushes the mucus out of there. So what I do is use a little bit of gravity. Get your friend, neighbor, husband, wife, whoever, to help position you so that you're upside down just a little bit, and a couch is an easy place to do this. You lay across their lap, and you had your head tilted down towards the floor, and you're going to make different sound effects, just sustained vowel sounds like ah, ee, oh, whatever. And they're going to pound on different parts of your rib cage. And the pressure's not too bad. I mean, you're simply just looking for that little sound effect when they're beating on different parts of you. Make sense? Okay, so what this is doing is actually creating a vibration with a little bit of air pressure, and it's knocking mucus out. After doing it for a few moments, you won't necessarily feel anything until you stand up, and then you'll have this tremendous cough come out of nowhere, and you'll be like, oh, it's working, because you're going to want to run to the bathroom and spit a bunch of mucus out. Really great thing when you're having bronchitis. So, recap, decreasing the amount of drainage you're getting through a low-carb diet, because your body actually produces phlegm with carbs. Things to cut out. I recommend cutting out cheese for the moment. Cut out fruit in general. Don't drink orange juice like people say. I want to smack people every time I hear them say that. You're basically injecting a bunch of sugar into your system right after bacteria has been introduced to it. Doesn't make any sense. Granted, garlic happens to be a good antifungal, but unless you're willing to ingest garlic straight by itself, I don't recommend mixing it with orange juice. In case you're questioning what I'm talking about, I've heard people say this. Anyway, so cut out legumes. I recommend cutting out legumes. Pretty much a low-carb diet. Look up some recipes. There's a lot on the internet. So, yeah, low-carb diet, singing, gargling thing, the little wispy bird sound I was making earlier, and the pounding on the chest should help out a lot. Now, another cool trick, and this is the last one I'll share with you, is if you move your throat a little bit like this, you'll feel that sound coming out of your throat comes out just a little bit different. It's because it's actually moving against the sides of your throat. If you take that same into effect in the opposite, what you can do is take a little sip of water. You swallow while you're pressing it to the sides, and it'll actually push. Don't do this with salt water, by the way. It pushes, unless you use a very small amount, it pushes actually the mucus down that's clinging to the sides of your throat. This can feel really good sometimes when you're having this sort of thing. On the same line of thought, you can actually do this and cough. When you're coughing, if you tighten your diaphragm up like you're doing a karate chop, like that kind of thing before you cough, it'll actually be a lot less strenuous on your vocal cords. It doesn't sound right to cough like that. Instead of going which is just tightening everything up, you're actually going and it's actually giving a much more powerful burst of air through your lungs, and it's kicking more stuff up. If you do this in conjunction with this guy, it sounds like this. It gives it a little bit lengthier sound because you're actually getting more air out. Recommend doing this in the bathroom away from people. It'll definitely freak them out. That is all for today. Good luck with getting rid of your bronchitis.